Board of Supervisors to order. We have an agenda before us. Any additions, corrections?
3 additions.
3.
Yes. Under items of note, D, natural gas update. Item E, employee conduct.
E.
Item F, under watershed management.
Anything else, Joel?
I'll second Stan's motion.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Move down to item 3, approve the sheriff's report for March.
Just curious, Kurt, the last 10 days of your report, it said that we had no prisoners in the jail.
We were empty for a while.
So what are the jailers doing then when we have no?
They've been painting and cleaning and that sort of.
We got some work out the county farm we could have done too. They'd like some painting done.
Yeah.
If I could give them back instantly, we wouldn't need them.
Well, yeah, there'd be no problem.
We had 6 in Saturday morning. It just, jail just goes up and down.
Kurt, gotta ask you, what's your feeling on tasers?
It's a mixed bag. We studied that, Greg Beaver, and talked to other departments, and people that use them. And when they work and they're used properly, they're a pretty good tool. Like anything, they're subject to abuse.
Well, if you ever go online and look at the abuse, I would be real cautious about ever using one or getting them or anything like that, because you can go on, you can Google the use of tasers and there's page after page after page of litigation. People being tasered that have health issues and mistakenly, you know, somebody in a diabetic episode can be mistaken for being a drunk and become tasered, and the next thing you know, it's costing, I'll just use the county, thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, I'm aware of those things, and thought about this again and again, and we don't have any tasers.
I appreciate that,
And the reason being, just what you're talking about.
and it doesn't take much anymore, you know.
There are occasions where they are extremely valuable.
When it's
And
done,
can in fact save somebody's life,
right.
but still on
Shooting the other fellow can do that same thing.
on balance, not gonna get them.
And stun guns, I mean, I guess those are another option. We have to actually hold it against the person.
Yeah, we have one.
Okay, I guess those would probably be safer, but how do you know if a person hasn't got a pacemaker?
The stun gun, Betty was on the board when we discussed this same issue, and her concern, it just mirrored yours. And we've never used a stun gun. I have it. I sometimes carry it with me when I go into the jail, break up a fight or something, but they're kind of a magical thing. I don't know if you have any experience with it, but you can hold it up, push the button, and it throws a spark between 2 electrodes. It's pretty impressive. Somebody see that spark, it tends to calm down.
It's kinda like a growling dog, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of like a growling dog.
Anyway, I was just curious of that, cause I've heard some other issues that,
Yeah, there won't be any tasers there during my administration anyway.
how does your predecessor, or how does Greg feel about it?
I haven't talked to him in the last year or so about it, but one time he was studying it pretty hard, and I haven't heard anything lately. And I can't answer for him.
I think it's the sheriff's report.
Second?
A motion and a second to approve the sheriff's report for the month of March 2012. Roll call vote, Bullfinder.
Aye.
Luck.
Aye.
Morrell. Aye. Motion.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks,
You bet.
Greg.
to approval of the minutes for April 10th, 2012.
Anything change on these?
I just had one correction. There was a word left out on the second page, first paragraph, where the chair asked if there were any oral. Just left out the word were.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes of April 10th. Roll call vote, Walk.
Aye.
Wolflanger?
Aye.
Morel? Item 4, consider recommendation from Mitchell County Enterprise Zone Commission to amend Osage Enterprise Zones.
We have that here. It would need a resolution number, Mr. Auditor. But it was approved at the Enterprise Zone meeting this morning. I think inside there's some places where you need it was approved this morning by the Enterprise Zone Commission and recommended for approval here.
It wasn't unanimous.
What areas are being incorporated or added or?
Well,
No, this is the one adding the five units, Joel. I think this one was it.
the resolution is, what's that for?
This was adding the 5 building lots
To where?
onto the one way north.
Is that what it says? You're talking about the zone work, expand,
This is 9.24 acres.
Yeah,
yep, that's the one, this is what we're talking about right here, this is the resolution.
This is the one, yeah.
Osage
Right.
EZ10.
Yeah, this was approved unanimously.
Yes, this
one
was unanimously.
Yes, I mean, just wanted to make it,
So we need to,
So are we just approving the one, or are there more than one, or?
no, this is the only one correction.
Okay.
so I make a motion that we go ahead and approve those 9.24 acres in addition to the, I think it was 70.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Mitchell County Enterprise Zone Commission to amend the Osage Enterprise Zones. Roll call vote, Wolflanger?
Aye.
What?
Aye.
Morel? Aye. Motion carried. Move down to the Yagi Kobe Associates proposal, item 6. This is hit for Valent Biosciences.
Again, that's a legitimate cost of doing business for, and we will be reimbursed for that, so.
And they have the size of the wastewater treatment area down pat now, 409 by 213, and looks all right.
So moved.
Motion by Watt,
Second.
second by Wolflanger. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Yagi Kobe Associates proposal for the Valent Biosciences Corporation project. Roll call vote, Watt.
Aye.
Wolflanger?
Aye.
Morel? Aye. Motion carried. Yeah, this was on my report. Is that something that, is that on everybody's?
Yeah, I just put that as a note,
Okay.
show how much what we had for passports
Okay.
during that quarter.
Okay.
It shows up in the recorders, but it's
Okay.
what the auditor is doing.
$1,175 worth of passports.
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody leaving or what?
A few. Some don't know, but they just want to get it.
Okay. So noted, huh?
Or we need a motion on that.
Need a motion on that? Yeah, this is the auditors, I'm
Just
sorry.
the auditors?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the auditor's report.
Second?
Motion is second to approve the auditor's report. For the quarter ending March 31st, 2012, roll call vote, Wolflanger?
Aye.
Watt?
Aye.
Morel? Aye. Motion carried. We have the recorder's quarterly report of fees.
nice chunk of change, so moved.
I'll second.
How much was that?
20,
Total collected $64,815.07. County share is $23,200.74. And the state gets $41,614.33. Got the numbers backwards. So.
yeah, they,
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the recorder's quarterly report. Roll call vote, Walk.
Aye.
Volklander.
aye.
Morel, aye. Item number 9, RFPs for architects.
I'll get your,
I seen a letter that you had drafted to send.
right. Everybody got a copy, right?
I printed one off this morning, I think.
I did have a
I
couple.
I saw your things, but I think it'll, actually I took this off the AIA website, their format. I think it covers everything. I mean, and your concerns about, when we had problems with the architects and the design and all that type of thing, I mean, I think that's addressed in here. And, we have them also explain their general liability and their professional liability insurance. I mean, not only that, whoever we choose, we will interview them, because I want all these things addressed. And I know, like over at the jail, I think a lot of that is redundancy, why we have boilers too big and, more than one, is because I think if it's a jail facility, I think, if one goes down, you've gotta have one immediately take over. I mean, but,
But even there, each one was sized twice as big too, is what they were needed. I mean, like you say, you had 4 times the capacity that, instead of twice the capacity that could have been.
and we've talked to different contractors throughout the area, and when those plans and specs come back, they're all willing to come and sit down, go through them. If they see any red flags, then that's the time we address it, not after the facility is built or whatever, So, I did go through found a list of North Iowa architects, or maybe more, but these are the ones that were basically in the yellow pages.
How many do you have?
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One was recommended by Planscapes, INS Group, and they have offices in, I think it's Algona, Spirit Lake, Marshalltown, Mankato, and one other Minnesota town. And I went on their website, and they've done a lot of stuff, so. I'm sure there's more. I feel we should at least send them out to these folks, as soon as possible. The other thing on this, when I was going through it, this project is expected to be completed by. Has anybody thought of a timeline? I have. I would expect it to be completed by the end of 14, I think. No, spring of 14. We go out now and we select an architect.
They were 12.
Okay, right now, I mean, we should have something back by 1st August at least, I would think. Or at least be able to choose one within the next couple of months. At that time, now we're into the election cycle, and so we don't want a whole lot going on because, Lowell's gonna be busy with all that. Right after the election cycle, then we should be able to choose a plan or have this put together, go out for bids, start construction next spring. That gives them the whole construction season of next summer through the winter to be able, I don't think it would take over a year. A year, 16 months, or whatever. Or the summer of 14. Voila, we should be done.
you remember, Lowell, what the timeline was on the services building from when they started actually construction to when completed it?
It goes less than a year.
But, I mean, I don't remember neither. I remember they had the timeline and we had a copy of that.
Exact dates, but I think it went, moved fairly quickly.
Well, if that works for you, I'd put it in as 14. I'm just
Sure.
looking at, and, I mean, that's gonna give the architect and the contractor, whoever they're talking to, you know, some target to shoot for, or whatever you wanna call it. But other than that, if this isn't acceptable, then I suggest we hire a professional to put together,
No, that's acceptable, Joe.
okay.
Consensus of the board to send it to those architects.
Unless you got any other architects that you wanted to use, I mean, I think the more the merrier, and, I mean, you might be surprised what you get, I mean, so if that's okay, I'll send it out, and we'll put together this, and I'll fill in that timeline as, we'll put a date, July 1st of 14, I mean, that gives them that, and that may or may not, maybe that's not a good idea. You know, we want a start date, we want a finish date, we don't want this, start 3 weeks.
Well, they should be
before.
able to give us, I mean, once they come up with their plan, they should really come up then with the start and finish
This
date. of
project
the-
is expected to be completed by, I'll just put 2014.
You know, and some of that is gonna depend too on whether or not, can we design around this? Can we build between here and the services building? Do we have to tear this down? Because if we have to tear it down, I think that's gonna, move and then tear it down and then build here. That's going to affect the whole dating system. So, I mean, part of it's gonna depend on what we come up with, for a completion date.
Right.
Fourteen's a good year, but we want to put up a month or
I think you gotta leave it open until you get your architect and that,
Approximate summer, 14.
because like you say, depending on how you wanna go about it.
Maybe we don't even need that in there, maybe we don't need
No,
that
I
in
don't
there
think
at
you need
all.
that in there right now
I'll
for,
just take it out, I mean, we don't, because I think whoever comes and does it with us, they're gonna give us a timeline how they.
they're gonna
they can
have a
get it
better
done.
understanding how long it's gonna take to
Right.
construct than what we are here today.
yeah, and availability of contractors too, I mean, that'll affect it.
Oh, getting back to the timeline, I did get a call from one of our local realtors, and there has been some nibbles on another facility that we were kind of thinking about possibly maybe having to rent. Just wanted to let us know, I don't know that it's gonna be feasible to build around this courthouse. I mean, you talk to been to any construction sites, one of the things they probably do right off the bat is they fence it off. I mean, and then you've got equipment and noise and dust and so. Then as a constructor, I look at that as, this isn't gonna cost a little extra money because now I'm gonna have to work around all this other stuff and people coming and going, and we've got the liability of, the sidewalk superintendent showing up and falling into the cement mix, and, it's. So I did talk to some of the department heads, and they are willing to go out and walk through that, and if we have to make some sort of a arrangement. But, I mean, our timeline is what it is. I don't know when the next point in history, we're gonna have all these things come together, to have a facility that we could probably move into. I talked to Barb about it, and she wants to go, and consensus. And I know, I did get a call, Stan, I know you gave a presentation to the Rotary, and I did get a call on that some are not in favor of building around this courthouse. They don't wanna hear about it, they want whatever gets built has to look courthouse-y, if you, that's just the way how you wanna put it.
I agree
It's gonna
with
be
that.
it has to look like a government, I mean, it has to look like what's needed. Can't look out of place, you know, this has stood here for 153 years, and so, or 4, or whatever it is now, but whatever we do, it has to be for the county of the next 150 years, if you wanna call it that. It has to look, it has to be something everybody in the county can go by and, you know, be proud of.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, but I mean, getting back again, no, until the architects give some idea, can they do it? Can this look like whatever? I mean, I have no idea, I don't wanna
Right,
just
and that's
limit
why I
it.
don't want anybody to have a preconceived notion of what we're getting.
That's what,
Right.
that's where I'm coming from. And like, say, somebody yesterday explained to me, why don't we ask the city to close the street off here, because we have a lot of room between here and the services building, and, you know, then you wouldn't have, I mean, there's all kinds of options, I think, that still are on the table if we have it.
Well, then I think our first option thing is to maybe go forward on
Right,
this.
I have no problem.
Okay, all right, so.
Betty?
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to ask, now that you've made that public, so to speak, could the public see what that entails, your RFP? And then the other thing, does that really call then for whoever the architects are to come back with the design and everything, Joel? Or because at one point you were talking at these meetings of including a committee, so to speak, on design.
Well, for right now, I think we wanna line us up a architect before we go down that road. I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but let's get to that point first, and then we'll.
Well, I don't know what this says, so I was just asking if this says to an architect, please come up with the design.
It says the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors is seeking qualified architectural firms for the development of a new county courthouse. The proposal must consider present and future needs as well as keeping with the existing county building styles, i.e. county services building, law enforcement building. In my opinion, when they built the jail, they built this building over here sort of architecturally to mimic the jail. So now I'm thinking that whatever we do here has gotta be with the same flavor. I mean, red brick, the whole works. I mean, so anyway, that courthouse is there. I mean, the intent of this RFP is to have the firms under consideration specifically address services required and provide a well-considered price proposal for those services. And then it goes on to, we're looking for a turnkey approach, and they'll come back with whatever, you know, with their. So what we, and it goes through the whole thing, you can read it, I got this off the AIA website, this is just a standard RFP. You could, I read through some that were 17 pages long, some were 42 pages long, and I thought, nuts. This will get us where we wanna go, I believe. I mean, and we'll visit, we'll interview the architects, choose one, you know.
Well, I just thought it was interesting. I read in the Globe the other day, and I thought that editorial was really quite interesting. And I can't remember if it was just a recent thing, but on the concept of, you know, the civic building over there, and hearing people out and so on, you know, because it's something that's going to involve the whole, well, Mason City there, but the whole county here. So I was curious, Joel, on, you know, whether or not there would be any, well, so far it's been three, you know, the three of you, pretty much. I mean, on the decision-making and so on, and so I was just wondering if there was gonna be any.
We don't make it on our own. I don't know how many people have come up to me and discuss it, you know, and what they wanna see, and what I'm hearing in my district here is what they wanna see is something that looks good, is sound, functional, and possibly has some of the same looks as this courthouse did. I mean, if it's 4 columns and a cupola, I don't care. I mean, I think it would look nice. I mean, it's not out of line. The architect that we did talk to that did the structural, he said this is a very easy design. I mean, it's not, nothing that's gonna take, you know, a lot of engineering, I guess what I might say. Another fella came up to me and said, whatever you do, make sure you put a basement in it, you know, and another, you know, cause if we were to have some pretty rough weather like they've been having around the country, I don't know where the folks here would go. Under their desk, I would hope, but, I mean, I don't know that I'd wanna jump down in this basement. Well, that's right, we don't have a basement. You know, I mean,
We're in it.
so, I mean, there's some things, I think we're at a juncture in time where we can do some good things for this county. So, it's consensus of the board.
Consensus of the board to go forward with the RFPs to the list of architects. Richie?
Oh, here comes the engineer.
thought I was the attorney.
You're in the truck. He's on vacation, huh? You go on vacation after spring cleanup and stuff like that?
They come over and get salt, don't they?
Yeah.
And you don't bill them for it, it's just the records, isn't it?
I don't know how we sold it.
Oh, Riceville?
Usually.
Okay.
I have.
I would,
Well,
never mind,
we do it in Worth County, everybody purchases, and it's not usually a whole lot of money. I don't know, maybe we don't here. We had to finalize these construction projects out, and, I need your signature, the chair's signature on the final pay estimates. Roads and then the bridges and everything. I've signed them and
there we go.
I am also researching still. We got our one quote for our two-way radio systems. But the more I hear about things, the more people are going digital, so I'm getting a second quote for a digital system, which is historically twice as much, but I think I'm trying to find a way to. The analogy I used this morning was, do I stay on the beach, knowing that eventually I go in the water? Do I tip my foot in the water to see how warm it is, or do I dive in? I think I'm gonna try to tip my foot in the water to see. They've got digital analog systems. Ask your question quick before I
All
go
right,
too deep.
I know Kurt is going through the same thing over there. Is there some way the whole county can get on the same page and maybe get a contract to do all of our radios?
Do you know who if he's checking with anybody yet?
Who was he talking to?
I've got Circle K online and I'm meeting.
I don't have the information, Kurt's got it on his desk.
I'll talk to him. I have a meeting with electronic engineering this week too. I've gotta do it in both counties and if,
Because if you do more, then maybe you get a better deal.
well, that could be. I know electronic engineering, just in brief conversations, you buy, it's like buy 8 radios, get 1 free just because of the discounts or whatever. It's really, they have a system where, right now we're on analog. We gotta narrow band the analog, so we have in this county 23 radios that are capable of being modified to meet the requirement. But we have, in our essential equipment, we need another 15, 20 radios at $400 a piece. We need a new repeater in order for we need a new repeater regardless, because that repeater can't be modified to fit the narrowband. They make equipment like the repeater that has a digital and an analog technology in it, where you can run on analog as long as you'd like, and when you're ready to switch over, I'll call it flip the switch. It's a little programming, but you flip the switch over to digital and everything's fine. They make a two-way radio that does the same thing. The radios are more expensive than a typical analog radio, but we wouldn't need to buy all brand new radios at this point in time. We could still operate under the analog system until we slowly replace radios to get to digital. Right now, I'm just trying to find out what it's gonna cost. You know, we've got quotes, like I said last time, we got a quote just to do the analog stuff and not extend further. Now, the other thing we could do is, and I don't know why it would make a whole lot of sense, but we could buy a digital analog repeater and then buy all analog radios, that way the repeater would never have to be upgraded. But if we gotta buy radios, do we buy them digital? So,
likely be beneficial to do some homework.
Well, that's where
Get
I'm
the-
at
get the
right now, is to
prices.
find out what the prices are, and if, you know, if, I know that the counties, they're on a different frequency altogether than we are, but it's all about purchasing the equipment, not necessarily, and I think they operate on a different repeater too, but
But
Yeah.
are they buying a repeater? I mean,
I don't know what they're on right now. Are they analog or are they digital now? They're analog yet,
right, they gotta go to digital.
and I don't know how new their repeater is, if their repeater is convertible or not convertible. I'm gonna assume it's not, but.
Well, it's 2013, everybody's gotta be
Yep.
on
We've got our license
Oh, there we go.
transferred, so that's not the issue, and once we get a repeater, the rest of it's cake, because we have radios that can be converted. It's just a matter of, we can slowly phase it in,
How many radios you replace a year now?
one or two. But we've got stuff that's got 3 boxes, you know, you got an amplifier in the trunk, and you've got a dial up front, and you got the hand mic yet, I mean, you know, boat anchor in your car, you know, just to talk, where now everything's just on a little,
I don't know. Well, I
little
think
unit.
we did it out the landfill, we had to put a repeater, 5 radios, and it was like $12,000. But they're all digital, they're all,
So, you know, it probably would've cost you 6 analog, but
that was 8.
to do analog, well then, yeah, it was probably better to go digital. So, I gotta get the numbers. It was one of those deals where I was convinced to go analog until you start looking and they're telling you that in 10 years, the FCC could make you go.
That's where they're moving, that's what that guy came when he gave his presentation.
Well, I just wish they'd tell you, forget about narrowband, just go to digital now, and then you have to do it, and there's no in between.
Well, I would go digital.
I would too, I wouldn't even
I
get
wouldn't
around
worry
with
about
it.
it.
But if I buy the option now, I don't have to go full bore into it.
Well,
I mean, the current radios will be digital capable. And I was also trying to think, well, maybe we go to reduce the amount we buy, maybe all of our summer equipment, the Sterlings and the Volt motor graders and stuff that we use, maybe they're digital. Come winter time, we can still keep our analog, and they were telling me about changing the frequency over on the radio to go back to analog and use the analog during the winter time and then go back to digital, that way we don't have to buy as many new radios. But I just gotta get all this, it sounds confusing, but it's not, other than us switching the dial on the radio.
Yeah, but in 5 years down the road, I don't wanna hear about, now we gotta spend another pile of money.
But
because
we'll
the
replace
analog-
radios as we need to then. I mean, I don't think it makes sense to buy 60 radios right now that are digital when you can't afford it. But if you can phase it in throughout the fiscal years, that's probably easier to do, budget-wise.
Well, I would look at what Kurt's gotta do, what you gotta do, and see if we can't get a package deal.
Does Milt have radios?
Yeah,
Are they radios too?
Everybody's got it. The elevators, the,
So in an emergency, it
Well, I
would be
mean,
nice
I
if you
think
had
I
a
think some of those, I think those guys have a lot of cell phones. I mean, I don't know that county conservation uses radios.
they don't use them very much. They do use them once in a while to contact us, but it's very rare that they
But I
do.
mean, I don't think they have radios in all their vehicles and that.
I don't know.
But in an emergency, like in the flood of 2000, wouldn't it be nice if you could talk to the
They might have handhelds.
department and they could talk to you? And right now, I don't imagine you can either one talk to each other.
I don't think I've ever talked to anybody in the conservation.
No, I mean sheriff's department.
Oh, I don't think we can. So anyway, that's where I'm at with the radios. It's one of those deals where I don't know that we can afford to go $70,000 and go all digital, but maybe we can do $30,000 and get our foot in the door with the digital and still run an analog until we get enough radios purchased throughout the years to go completely digital. I just need to be compliant, so.
I'd visit with Kurt and see if you guys could
All right.
maybe get a better deal together.
We're gonna be pouring grout in that, Riceville, those triple barrel pipe that we're putting in, Sutton,
On
so
Windfall?
McIntyre, on Windfall. They're about ready to seal everything up today so we can pour the grout tomorrow, and then hopefully by the end of the week, we've got some stuff backfilled and we can drive on it again. Depends on what the weather's gonna be for us, but they're looking really good there.
3 tubes?
3 tubes. I'm gonna meet with, WHPS on Friday. I've got bridges in Worth County, the bridges here we need to discuss. They're the ones that have to approve any repairs we do, if we wanna get signs taken down. So we do a repair, they don't like it, it was a waste. So I'm gonna sit down and talk with those guys on Friday afternoon and find out what direction we need to go. To me, in my opinion, it looks like we don't have a lot of option to repair what we have, because everything on top is nice, it's everything below that's shot. And I don't see where it's a whole lot cheaper to lift a concrete deck off of a bridge and tear wood piling out and try to do concrete piling or steel piling and put something back in where a box culvert might be just as cost effective. So, in the meantime, stuff's programmed in the BROS program to get stuff replaced with box culverts for now. We've got time to change our mind on it, but we needed to get stuff programmed so that it's not a big surprise and say, hey, we need to push this through. So, that's where we're at on the bridges right now. Like I said, we'll meet with them on Friday. I'm also meeting with the public auctions. There's a company out there that does auctions for state and county governments, cities too. We've got the loader over here we need to get rid of. We've got stuff in Worth County we need to get rid of. Just a way to put it online, get a larger audience on selling stuff. Our stuff isn't by any means perfect, but there's people out there looking.
Hey, when's you like it?
Probably the ones that we sold
Wanna,
to you.
wanna buy a loader with an engine that's blowing in it?
You've got online auctions, they go pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff goes overseas.
Well, that's kinda where I'm thinking, our cat loader, it's got a broken crank, but there's somebody overseas might have.
If it's mechanical, they'll take it.
Yeah, and we'll probably get a better price for it going overseas than we would here if somebody wanted to scrap it out. You never know.
Yeah.
Not my problem. If they give me the money for it, the actual, on this auction, the buyer pays the percent. For like, you sell it for $5,000 and there's 3% markup for the auction service. It's not ours, it's theirs. So, anyway, I'm just gonna discuss about it and see how it's, we can do sealed bids if you'd still wanna do that too, but this might be clean. We can still pull it anytime we want. Anyway, we're out blading roads, got some sign work to fix with all the wind that went through. I brought a map so you guys could tell me where you want all of your economic development signs. I know we've got them south on T38, right, coming in to Osage from the south. You were talking about the Rudd Road coming in from the south, right? On S70?
Well, let's first to Norris Springs.
Norris Springs, that's S70.
Yeah. We don't have one coming into Carpenter from the west.
On 105.
We have one in town, I mean, on number 9, but,
Does that one need to be replaced? With the bigger one or not?
I don't, it's,
Alright, we'll leave that one alone.
We do have 4 signs.
I think you guys ordered 6 or 7, was it?
yeah, the freight was to the point that if we ordered one more sign, we basically had the sign free because there was no freight.
What do we do with the old ones?
I would still maintain them, I'd just put them on less used roads.
Right, I think that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
So you want one north of Stacyville yet, too?
Monument?
Yeah.
Monument?
Yeah, if there isn't one there.
I don't think there is.
That's 3.
And actually, south of Riceville at the county line, isn't that a rather busy?
Addison?
Yeah. And I haven't looked at the traffic count, but
Which way, coming
from the south coming north into,
at the intersection?
In the race
Well,
fence.
we're not right, okay. Because we're 2 miles north, we're gravel 2 miles south of that Addison yet.
I think,
But are you
right
talking
right at the
north.
blacktop.
right at the intersection there?
Yeah.
no, you want, no, he's down here, Stan. He's way-
South of Riceville,
You want it
But
up
you-
here.
right at the blacktop. I mean,
where the blacktops meet, the Elma Blacktop.
Right.
Okay.
At that, down here, 330th and Addison.
That's where I've got it, 330th Madison. Anything, number 9 on the west side, coming in from Worth County? Anything
There's
there?
one there, I mean, it's,
Good enough?
if you can talk them into putting the bigger, let's put the bigger one there, that
I
one's.
just wanna know where we gotta put new ones for now, and this is that.
You have one down south of Osage, T38.
Yep, that's the 1, 2, 3,
You got 4.
5 I've got Addison and 330th, I've got south of Osage here, I've got S70, 105, and Monument. What's coming in from 218 at Lyle? Anything, there's one there, isn't there?
Yeah, What's that, the county line south of New Haven? Is that fairly well, is that hit pretty hard?
Underwood?
Yeah.
Oh, coming in on T64 from Floyd. That's a straight blacktop. I don't know if you guys want to put one there. Or do you want to take one down from Osage and put that one over there?
Yeah, a bigger one.
Do you have one on Walnut up on the state line north of Mac?
No, do you want one up? Well, that one's coming from Minnesota. That might be a.
A lot of traffic comes down that road.
Smaller one or a bigger one?
Bigger one there?
Might as well just put a big one there.
You got,
We're not moving
That's
around
fine.
one.
Well, that'll give you something to start with.
Yeah. A38 coming in from Worth County, just, if you got one in Carpenter, just. And then you have,
I had a report of a farmer farming too far into the ditch. Southeast of, yeah, let's see, be on Stillwater Road, which is 320th and just west of Underwood. If you have somebody out there, would you check it out?
okay,
He said the back slope of the ditch is washing out. I emailed Mark Luck, but he's apparently gone. I haven't heard back from him.
well,
So.
you know, in the past, it's been a pretty lenient deal. I mean, we
Oh,
are a
yeah,
farming
I know.
community. I guess the question is how do you wanna handle some of that stuff? I mean,
Yeah, I know. That's
it's
why-
all over the place. We'll go look at it and see how
Yeah,
bad it is. but-
if you see, if you have somebody out there, I don't make a special trip.
okay.
But,
I mean, it's
just
illegal to farm the right of way, period, but it seems like in the past, it's always been kind of, there's always been that gray area of how far over you are before you're, and if you're planting corner of the road, it's different than, like, you know, it's up to you guys how far you wanna push this.
If you got
Well,
highline poles and you're planting like this, I think that's a little far.
It is, but,
And when you start washing out the back slope,
Back slope of the
because it
ditch, I think
silts in and that, I mean, that, we can't allow that.
no,
but I forwarded it to Mark and
Okay.
haven't heard an answer, so just
we'll
check it out.
we'll cruise by and look at it and see how bad it is. Anything else?
How we coming with the county shop?
County shop. County shop has been on the back burner unless we wanna start talking about buying a lot. Right now, the budget's pretty creepy. So,
With all these bridges out.
yep. So, what's your druthers?
Where would you like it if you would do it?
Right now, and I didn't bring the numbers with me, I took them out of my notebook, and I knew darn well I shouldn't have, because I knew it was gonna get, for some reason, I knew the minute I took them out of here that I've been carrying around for a year. I can go both ways, but I think, maybe economically speaking, as far as upfront costs, it's gonna be cheaper to locate at that industrial park. Over the long run, you know, will it pan out, you know, with power and everything else? You know, we're gonna be paying a utility bill for sewer and water, but we don't use a lot of that stuff throughout the year. So, we got quotes for power. One way it's free, one way it costs a little bit of money to run underground to get power to the lot in St. Ansgar. But the money is just the same as if you go out in the country, cause they still gotta, I don't think we're gonna run three-phase, I don't think we need three-phase out there. We can buy step-down or step-up converters for that, if we have anything, but most of our stuff doesn't run three-phase. I think, I'm gonna go by memory on this, if we were gonna run overhead power from wherever Heartland has it in the industrial park now, to a pole in the corner of our lot, and then run it overhead into our lot, it wasn't gonna cost us anything. If we wanted to run, or if we wanted to run across and then underground through our lot, it was like $6,000.
What do most of them do in that industrial park?
I think a lot of stuff's underground, they don't wanna they don't want power poles strung out all over the place either.
Not only that, you got equipment that's tall and.
Right, we don't wanna be. But those are, you know, in the grand scheme of things, just having the utilities put in are kind of minimal costs, but, long term. I don't know if it's really, as big as an issue as I thought it was to be out in the country on a route, as it once was thought, you know. So, I mean, I don't know where you guys wanna take it from here. I mean, before I can finalize any design, I need to know where it's going. And right now, I think, like I said, the upfront costs are cheaper to go into St. Ansgar in the industrial park. Requires a little bit more dirt work, but not a whole lot of issue there.
You won't have to drill a well.
Nope, the water's already, I mean, I think the hookup fee for water is like $35 and the sewer's $120 versus drilling a $10,000 well and having a $10,000 septic system. There's $20,000 up front versus 100, whatever. Long term, who knows, I mean. I don't honestly think we can build anything this year, and I know we've been talking about this for 2 years, 3 years now about building, but the money's not there. I know we put it into the budget, but other things with construction and everything else kind of gobble that up once in a while. So we can certainly look at fiscal year 13, I know the budget's turned in, but we can look and see how close you wanna run. I mean, we could probably still purchase a lot. I don't know if you wanna do that yet or not. I don't know if St. Ansgar's waiting on anything or not, as far as are they keeping that lot pushed off the side because they know we're interested or not. I don't know if you're aware of it at all, but.
Well, I think there was some trading that was gonna go on.
Well, hopefully, I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't gotten that far yet because we never really made a commitment to the industrial park, so.
Well,
You wanna bring it up at another meeting or have a little discussion or? Okay.
That's fine, I can talk to one of my sources and see how that was gonna play out, but that would have to be part of it, I guess. You know, we don't need to own
No,
all kinds of lots up there, you know, and we also got that other existing property, which we're, you know, my thinking is, do we need that if we built a new facility?
wouldn't think you'd need to keep it.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted it for cold storage or, but then that's just another
I don't know, I guess,
expense. If this
Another-
lot was big enough, if you actually needed cold storage, I guess.
to add on, you know.
or lean-to on the backside or.
Well, and we've got it big enough now to bring new equipment in, it's just a matter of, you know,
And I know we wanna move another route up that way, right?
Right.
I mean, so,
I mean, you build it big enough that you don't need to have cold storage maybe, I don't know, we've got a big shed here in Osage for cold storage too. All the plows and stuff come back here and get stored in this lot, so. I think it's big enough that if we needed to stockpile rock or whatever, quarry's so close by, we don't really need, our stockpile's in a quarry, so I mean, it's fortunate for us, but, you know.
the only other thing would be the salt, I suppose, and the sand.
That'd be the only
That's-
other
that's
thing.
not-
Mr. Chairman, could I just ask, is that the property by the Wold, or is this a new property in the industrial park?
The one we're looking at it's in the new added, it's by the space age area. You know where St. Ansgar built their spec building?
No. but
St. Ansgar
that's
built a
fine.
spec building and then we'd be on the other side.
Okay, this isn't the Wold that, okay, that's all I wanted
They
to
were
know.
good.
Yeah,
There's some talk about trading land there, so, which would be fine, you know, I don't have a problem with that. And as long as you're good with it, I'm good with it. And it does, like, you know, the numbers, I mean, the wells and all that stuff, that can be pricey.
Well, the other thing is we're that close, but, you know, we do a lot of business with Napa and Olds, they're right there with tires
There's
and
that too.
parts, and I mean, whether that's a big deciding factor or not, maybe not, but we're close by if we need something too, I mean, it's,
Have the economic development build it and lease to own.
we could talk about that, who knows?
They want it so bad, it'd be looking nice.
door's open to anything. Oh, we have them build it, we stay there for 10 years guaranteed, and we take ownership after 10 years.
Could happen.
How bad do they want the business breeding business? I don't know. So that's where we're at
Okay.
with the building. Like I said, the plans have kind of been 95% complete until I get orientation figured out. I can't tell you where to put electrical plugs or anything, because if you twist it on one lot, well, the west is where you don't want to open the doors in the north, so.
Right. Okay.
All right. We did get the new car on Friday.
You got a new car? You one of those light bars with it?
No. I used my old one.
What'd you get?
How's they coming on extending that culvert on for,
I told him we needed to get that bridge done so we could get over there and,
okay.
it's that silver one over in the corner.
I thought it was that Cadillac you was pointing at.
You know, the Escalade was just a little bit too expensive to quote.
Well, Richie and I did last week tour that possible gas line.
Well, let's go down to that, items of note, natural gas lines, as long as natural gas update.
And you didn't really see any major problems. that
The only
you,
questions I had were how close to power poles are they gonna let you bury a 6,000 PSI line?
And I contacted Heartland Cooperative, and they said there are no rules, as far as they knew. That,
And I guess, I don't know who being the owner would be, but it's probably what kind of cushion do you want between them. I mean, some places have a really wide right of way and some don't. And it seemed to me when we drove that, most of the power lines were on the Iowa side. And then there's still the issue with the Deer Creek watershed, whether or not there's any, I mean, that one's right up against the gravel road there where there's not much back or fore slope on the road there to bury anything, and you've got a big drainage ditch, and then you've got into private property.
You're talking on the state line, right?
Yeah. Coming south, when we drove it, there was a stretch where there's power lines on both sides of the road, so you're kind of got to deal with them regardless. But it would take a lot, you know, to you know, Stan had asked whether we could, with our own forces, locate right away, and we've done that. But when you're talking that many miles, don't expect miracles, because we don't have that many people. But we got to dig up every section corner and every quarter corner to get a line, and then to pull off that line right away. So it's a very time-consuming process, and whether or not we've got all the time we need to, you know, we try to dedicate a lot of our time to maintenance and construction.
and like I said to Richie, that you know, if we could hire some summer help, because we're gonna have to pay for it one way or the other if it's gotta be done. And if you're paying somebody like WHKS or Yagi, you're paying more than $15, $20 an hour that you'd be paying
Can would I get guaranteed reimbursement of some sort
For what?
to hire extra help to do this?
Oh.
If we had to hire summer help,
Interns.
interns, right? Well, yeah, could you hire an intern for nothing? But, I mean, that extra dollars coming out of the secondary road budget for something that is a utility going in the right of way that's not secondary roads. Usually when somebody does something and finds right of way, it's at their cost. And I'm not trying to be greedy, but it's just a fact of life that it's
But
gonna
if we
cost
have
us.
if we have that fund there, I mean, there would be other entities also that are gonna have to be paying into that whole project, and so if we're able to save money,
And I don't
it's saving us all money.
know what's required, whether you gotta have a licensed land surveyor sign off on that stuff or not. I mean, if we're just gonna locate right of way, and you're gonna be within that right of way, I don't know how accurate you need to be as long as you're within that. Because we pull off right away all the time to do a ditch clean. we're probably within a couple inches when we pull off.
What do we need this for?
Basically, if we don't want to locate a gas line on private property, I mean, it really shouldn't be if we're in the right of way, but like I say, we still really need to know where that boundary is.
You know, and the other thing that,
For working purposes and
just so you're not gonna put it on somebody's, underneath somebody's third row of corn. However, that could happen even in our ditch, as. The other thing to think about too is, that's a lot of gravel roads that ditches haven't been cleaned. You know, we were talking about a 3-foot bury. Well, what if there's 2 foot of silt in there? You might wanna know where that ditch line is before you bury it, cause you might have to go 5 feet just to get the 3-foot clearance if we were to come back and clean. So, or, do you open up that can of worms and clean 37 miles of road? But I don't know that you really wanna open that can of worms either. I think it's better to know where that ditch bottom is and just bury it.
well, the
I'm
other
not saying
thing
there
too,
won't be places you won't clean it, but.
the other thing too is, like Rich pointed out, there's tile lines that dump into the ditch, and they're not necessarily easy to be seen just by driving down the road. And we should probably have somebody walking that whole thing.
Well, the best thing to do too is even talk to the landowners about where their outlet. And a lot of times there's a post, but there could be something crossing too, underneath it.
But just locating some of this stuff can save a lot of money from, like, say, if a company has to come in and bring their high-priced people, they're gonna be charging.
How many people you looking at?
I did give it a thought. I mean, if you got one crew, would be at least 3 guys. I mean, we got.
And how long would it take them to do such a thing?
I couldn't begin to tell you. I've never done it. I mean, you
So is there a pin at every intersection?
typically, every mile, you know, typically. Sometimes you can't find them and you gotta hire somebody to dig up, and sometimes they used to mark them out with a big old boulder.
Don't we have spades?
You got anybody that needs community service?
Check with Kurt.
They were empty the last 10 days of March.
Well, I don't intend to do anything stupid and have to do community service, but, I don't know, we've got a,
If you hire somebody, how old they gotta be? Old enough, I guess, 18, I imagine.
you've been hiring kids coming home from college.
What do you usually pay them? 10, 12?
Somewhere in there. They're not truck drivers, so. But I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not gonna be, I don't know how far off this whole project is, but it's gonna take a lot of time to pull right away. If we can even do it all. Maybe you gotta,
Does the right of way have to be pulled before they start?
I mean, the other option is put it right down in the bottom of the ditch and not worry about finding right of way, but. Cause you know, when utilities do it, they're not always pulling off a right of way line, but how close do you want how close do you want that gas line to the traveling road? I mean, you've already got power poles at the right of way line, so anything within the power poles is gonna be, maybe you don't gotta pull as much, but when there's no power poles, you don't know. Then how close to the road do you wanna put it? You put it in the
We drive over it all the time in Mitchell County. There's a couple big high-pressure lines going through here all the time. People drive over them.
I mean, I guess the main thing is that you're not gonna have issues later on that we're gonna have problems with the line being that close to either the forest slope or whatever.
If
I
we
mean,
need to
that's
do a
really where,
reconstruction of a shoulder, and we wanna make sure you're not in the way of, because it is the utility's responsibility. They're allowed to be in the right of way, but if it needs to be moved, and county says it needs to be moved, it's that utility's responsibility to move it.
well, and there was one area in Worth County that they were actually farming the forest slope.
It's
I mean,
everywhere.
there was no ditch.
It's everywhere. Yep. They're right up to the edge of the road.
Just take the road off and give them back the road.
That's what it is.
Probably a few of those we could do that.
Just greed.
Well, how do we find out all this that we have
Well,
to have?
Basically, we're gonna learn a lot after today.
Okay.
What has transpired is, 3 weeks ago or whatever, we got one bid of $16.5 million with a 15% variance. That means 14 to 19 million is about where it came in at. And again, not 100% sure that we had everything inclusive, because this was a rough bid, kind of taken off of what Northern Natural had. We got a second bid last Friday of 23.2 million, and we had a bid yesterday come in at 18.85 million, something like that, just under 19 million. So the ball is basically in Absolute's court today, whether or not they feel that these bids were good enough that they would like to actually go with a full-blown bidding process. And in the meantime, I've been trying to get a lot of the groundwork prepared. If they're ready to go, that we don't have to spend another 2 months because time is of the essence. We got to be done by the 1st of October of 2013. So Lowell's been working on property addresses. I gave him all the names of people in Mitchell County who, I don't know if you're about done with that
Yeah,
list.
those done.
And Worth County is doing the same. I've contacted DNR for finding out what might need to be done with them. The Archaeological Society, if there's any requirements, and it sounds like the best thing to do would be to hire the University of Iowa. That as long as you have a piece certified that they say there's no problem, and we have it in writing that, you know, it really covers us again. And so I'm getting a lot of that stuff done, you know, that's non-costly, it's just time consuming. So kind of know where we're at with some of that. But I say today will be the day with Absolute. So that's where we're at anyway. Anybody else have any questions on the gas?
No, I don't. I just see item E here, employee conduct. Is that anybody?
No, it has to do again with somebody coming for a driver's license, and I am just really irritated about continually hearing about that type of thing.
I thought there was
So
something
I
over
will
here
want to talk to us.
that's under control.
Get in there.
Okay. Any more on that?
Oh, on the driver's license?
No, employees conduct.
Well,
Rich,
we keep on hearing the same employees treating the public
Thank you.
in not a nice manner, and I really would
Okay,
like
it's
to
probably in somebody's dorm room.
explain to Pam, I would like to have her spend the money to send that employee to a school on, how do you want to call it?
Attitude adjustment?
Attitude adjustment. Because I'm tired of getting these complaints on it.
It's not new. It's nothing new. It's been around for years.
could I add something? You know,
Just a minute.
No, that's it.
it had to do with that.
Same one that we've been hearing
Yep.
year after year after year after
Yep.
year.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Betty.
I know who you're talking about, and I know I go to Mason City, and they tell me they get all kinds of people from Metro County at the Mason City driver's license for that very same reason.
Yeah, this individual was so mad they went to Northwood then to get their license, and they were just very disgusted on how they were treated. It was an older couple and very nice couple.
Yeah.
And
I know it's been costly to some people to get eye tests, and the eye doctor, they, you know, went there to get an okay from the eye doctor, and the eye doctor says there's nothing wrong with your eyes, and they had to pay out of their pocket to bring a thing back to get, and, you know, I just go over there instead.
yeah, and they say,
You're not
you know,
alone, Betty. You're not alone.
No, I know a lot of people just, you know, this guy always says, another one, you know, we have all kinds of people from Mitchell County to come here.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Why don't we
Maybe
put it
since
on
they
the agenda
started.
for next week, and
You want her to come down with Pam, or?
I really, yeah, I'll confront her, I have no
mean,
problem with it.
It just doesn't wanna quit. And if,
Cause it's either the attitude has to get better, or I'd like Pam to get rid of her. I mean, it's to that point.
yeah, I mean, it's going on way too long.
It's costing Metro County too. I mean, the revenue that comes in, that could come in.
Yes.
I don't know how much you get, but
$2, I think, each time,
Oh,
something
no,
like
it's more than that now with, some of it.
that. Or just a renewal.
Or something,
I was thinking it's 7 something now, isn't it?
I think around $7.
I suppose it
It's
would
like
depend what it
payment
is, if it's a CDL or
It's not much.
just a renewal of a standard driver's license. But I think it's time that it's dealt with. I had several different meetings. Last Wednesday I went with Elaine Govern and Milt Owen. Did you have something?
And Mr. Betty. Excuse me.
Went over with Elaine Govern and Milt Owen and to the Vision Iowa board meeting. They met in Mason City, and Mitchell and Howard counties were requesting an extension to the CAT grant for completion of the bike trail. And Milt and Elaine put on a wonderful presentation of the bike trail on with PowerPoint and everything. It'd be a great thing for anybody to see if like Rotary or something like that would be a good place to show that. Did aerial photos of the trail and everything. It was really good. No decisions were made at that time. The due diligence committee will check and see if they're in compliance with the rules before they grant an extension. Last Wednesday afternoon, I had the North Central Regional Emergency Response Commission meeting. Basically going over the financials, have a healthy balance. They went through the bylaws and officially added Emmett and Palo Alto counties. We got a tour of the hazmat vehicle that's over at the Mason City Fire Department. If anybody has the opportunity to see that, it's quite a piece of equipment. Huge semi, it's got 2 levels in it, and all the equipment, just unbelievable. There was a report, they had 3 different calls for hazmat. They had at the Manly terminal, a tanker, the dollies, when they unhooked, were not locked down, and it fell and caused a leak of methanol, not ethanol, methanol. And it drained out 3,000 gallons, so they had to respond to that. And there was a semi that they were called out for on I-35, hit a bridge pylon about along right near B20, where B20 hits the interstate, and they dumped most of that hot tar. It was quite a cleanup project. It didn't damage the bridge pylon much at all. And they had one other call with law enforcement over there, but pending litigation, they can't report on that. The wellness meeting, basically went over the treasurer's report, and we have a healthy balance there. Discussed the annual physicals. We have 66% of Mitchell County employees have completed an annual physical, and also the well-being health assessment online. And I think just about everybody's received their gift cards. Have you got yours?
Just yesterday.
Oh, good. Good. They had a program where ISAC and Wellmark had a program. If you got a physical and filled out the health assessment, you had a gift card for $250. So it was quite a program. The 2012 Live Healthy Iowa 100-day wellness challenge. We're at the halfway point and there's 27 participants. After that, last night, I shouldn't say last night, it was most of yesterday. It started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we ran until about 6:45 last night. The level of excellence state review board was up to review all the providers and director and board members of the Floyd Mitchell Chickasaw Early Childhood Iowa programs. So that was quite lengthy, and it was very good. I think we'll come out of that review very well. It was a good time to communicate between the state and the providers of all of the services. That was it for me. Manure management plan updates?
Yeah, two of them, one from Jack's Dairy. It's actually located in Howard County, but spreads from northern Mitchell County. And the Lipson Tech 3 Finisher Farm, owned by Iowa Select Farms in Section 22 of Union Township.
Okay. Salary step increases.
Two of them.
For Dina Thompson and one for Bill Lovick.
Right. Both home care aid 3.
Moved up to step 6 out of 9 steps.
Step away.
You step away.
Step away?
We just stepped in it, is all. We just steps up. Okay, well, I guess we can recess until we get to New Hampton. We have to go to New Hampton today for a joint 2080 Chickasaw Mitchell County Targeted Case Management.
The 2080 agreement, compensation on section 5, not who signed something like this, but it says here that the employees of the Chickasaw Mitchell Targeted Case Management are employees of Chickasaw County. So why do they even bother to ask us anything about, wages and?
Yeah, I talked a little bit to Rick. He came up Saturday morning and we sat at the kitchen table for a couple hours talking about mostly the evaluation, but we talked about the compensation.
Well, it says it
I
should
said
be,
it's gonna have to have, more discussion on that, and if that's in there, I mean, that,
I'd like to send it over to Mark Walk and have him give us a,
yeah, I mean,
opinion on it,
we need to, he agreed, we need to discuss that thing a whole lot earlier than, the day before the budget goes to the state, so.
well, 3 of the employees are in Mitchell County and 2 are in Chickasaw County, but yet the employees of Mitchell County have to, they're governed by whatever Chickasaw
Right.
County does. But yet it's a 2080 agreement. I think myself that needs to be dealt with by both counties. Or find some other arrangements.
Yeah, I mean, it's open for discussion.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with
where
you, Joel.
did the targeted case managers, this was in 2004 when this was approved. Who was doing targeted case management here before that?
Shannon Paulus and Jennifer Bowles.
They were on their own?
No,
Who-
there was a budget.
No, but who was their director, who was their,
Board of Supervisors.
well,
Yeah, they actually came in, was it monthly or quarterly?
Monthly.
Monthly, made a report, and, and I forget what the reasoning was behind going with, the dual, do you remember right
Well,
offhand?
when they both left, and we didn't have a CPC.
what was Bob
And then there
doing
was,
at that time?
And then Bob stepped in. And also, we went through, New Hampton there with the hospital that Carolyn Martin Shaw was, managing that. That was for about a year. And then formed the 2080.
Is there any reason these Mitchell County employees couldn't fall under Bob being CPC?
I mean, we still talk to him for funding and some things.
Right. Because I suppose they're, well, I'm gonna give Bob a call and see what his take is on this. I mean, they don't wanna,
Yeah, I mean.
I'm not happy with that arrangement at all.
Well,
And then we have 3 votes and they have 5 votes now, that
Yeah,
don't.
No, no, they really don't. It says,
Where is
Each county
that?
has a vote.
yeah, each county has 1 vote, is what it says.
But if one yes, one no, it's gonna stay the way it was.
Okay, so then how do you deal with that then?
Well, what it says is then it's a no vote, is what it really is. There's no tiebreakers.
Well, then there should be.
Well, there probably should be. I mean, I don't disagree with you on that,
Because that's how you get nothing done, is because then somebody just
Right.
constantly votes no, and we can constantly vote yes, well, it's constantly a no vote. Well, anyway, I just,
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't bring that up today.
I'm gonna bring it up and tell them that we're gonna have an attorney review.
Oh, you bet. And,
You know, let them know that, you know,
I don't think they're opposed to any of that.
we need to come to some kind of an agreement on how this
Right.
is gonna work out.
It's just that this last year, I mean, I think just,
It was too
It's too
late for the
close.
budget, but the thing of it is, the whole attorney.
well, I think somebody dropped the ball.
Well,
It was
probably
told-
rightly so.
Told to get things done and didn't turn it in prior to the budget. But that's done and over with, so, yeah, I mean, Rick and I said, you know,
It's not county tax dollars, it's Medicaid reimbursed.
yeah.
I mean, it's not, there's no buddy's tax dollars in Chickasaw or Mitchell County going into this,
Well,
per se.
take Medicare out of my check every tax.
Well, yeah, right, it's
There-
an
it
insurance
is-
policy, anytime somebody gets their house blown up or wind blows off, yeah, some of your money's gonna go to fix that house.
You bet.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what
All
it
in
is.
the pool.
So anyway,
But it's open for,
well, no, but I think these guys, I'm gonna discuss it today and I'll try to be nice about it.
yeah.
Mr.
Well,
Chair-
I know, I mean, I'd feel terrible if, you know, you're working in Mitchell County and everything, and Mitchell County gets this raise, and, you know, and then if you say, well, go every other year, then it could be the opposite every other year, so we have to come to some conclusion that's equitable for everybody.
There's mileage involved too.
Something everybody can live with instead of keep them going like this.
And Mr. Chairman, I have to drive bus this afternoon and time frame coming back and that it really isn't gonna work for me, so
Okay.
the 2 of you can.
So we can, so when we get over there, we can say, stay on set.
That's right. We used to do it when Alan and I were in business.
Stan said,
Always the guy that wasn't there, why I can't do anything because I have to talk to him.
Now,